Since the support nerfs in the mid-season patch, we've seen a lot more people playing Mercy because she didn't receive any changes. To say that she's meta now would be an understatement, but these nerfs didn't hit some heroes as hard as others. Everyone knows that Zenyatta's changes didn't make him any worse, and in defense of KIRIKO, she's still a super OP support. While Suzu's cooldown timer has been increased from 14 to 15 seconds, it's still an absolutely amazing ability and doesn't make her much weaker. It just means you have to think more about whether you need to use Suzu or whether you can hold it till you need to get rid of a debuff. In this video, I'm going to tell you why you should learn KIRIKO regardless of this small change. She can deal a bunch of damage and, in my honest opinion, might just be one of the best supports in the game. I'll explain why in a sec, but first I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. We also recently hit 300 subs, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trying to imagine that amount of people in the same room whilst I'm in front of you on like a stage or something is wow. So thank you all, whether you're new to the channel or you've been here since the start. First things first, kit breakdown. KIRIKO's primary fire is a thrown kunai which deals 40 damage when it hits the body, but it deals 3 times damage when it crits an enemy, dealing 120 damage. So if you can get these out fast enough and get 2 headshots, your enemies are going to fall like flies. Her secondary fire is her burst healing OW2, which lock onto and heal your teammates. Her 2 main abilities are Swift Step, which allow you to teleport to any teammate within a certain radius, even if they're behind walls, and Protection Suzu, which briefly makes allies invulnerable to any damage and cleanses negative effects like anti-heal or burning. She also has a passive wall climb ability which lets her access the high ground very easily. My first tip for learning how to play KIRIKO is to take into consideration your ability cooldown timers. As I mentioned before, Suzu had a slight nerf which made the cooldown timer increase from 14 seconds to 15 seconds. So now you need to think about whether you should use it or not, even more now. If it means that your teammates don't die and you know for a fact you can keep them alive after using it, then go for it. But if you're uncertain about whether you should use it or not, you probably shouldn't use it, and should instead use it when your teammates either get debuffed or are all getting to super low health. It's a bit like Ana's sleep dart, just because you have it doesn't mean you need to use it constantly. Just leave it as a type of get out of jail free card. Same thing goes for your teleport, don't just use it to get into the front line faster if your teammates are fine for health. Use it when you know it will benefit your team the most, e.g. getting back into the fight after dying quickly to heal up your teammates, or to get back to your teammates who are coming from spawn after a fight has been lost. KIRIKO is very much a strength in numbers support and gets a lot of value out of assisting her teammates. Yes, she can get kills on her own, but working with your team to get kills is always going to work better for you. My second tip for learning how to play Kiri is to practice aiming in custom games. KIRIKO requires you to be at least semi-decent at aiming, so if that's a thing you know you struggle with, jump into custom games and practice your aiming. I wouldn't bother with the practice range because it isn't very reliable and the bots in there don't act the same way that players do. The code I use is usually GGSYK, as this one lets you see how much damage you do, change the intensity of the bot's movements, and also lets you play around with damage boosts from both Ana and Mercy. Obviously there's a bunch of aim training game modes in custom games, so just have a look around for one that suits your needs. If you're a PC player, you could even install Aim Labs and use that. My third tip for learning how to play Kiri is to fully understand how your ult Kitsune Rush works. Kitsune Rush increases the speed of a fair few things: movement speed, reload speed, fire rate, cooldowns, and deploy rate of abilities like Cassidy's Grenade and Ash's Dynamite. Because of this ult is best paired with other ults like Reaper's Death Blossom and Ramatra's Annihilation. It lets them deal a bunch of damage super fast, giving the enemy barely any time to react to it, meaning it makes team kills super easy. My fourth and final tip for learning how to play Kiri is to balance both your healing and damage. As I briefly mentioned before in the kit breakdown, her crits do 3 times damage, dealing 120 damage instead of the usual 40 for body shots. So to say she packs a punch is a bit of an understatement. By dealing damage, you help your teammates secure kills a lot easier. Plus, since your healing OW2 have to regen, you have a window where you can be dealing damage as these come back. My point is, you shouldn't be heal botting with Kiriko. She deals so much damage that if both your team and your aim are good enough, you won't even need to heal that much because your enemies are going to be spending a lot of the match respawning. Doing damage on top of healing also makes your ult recharge a lot faster, especially if you're hitting crits. And that just about does it for my guide on learning how to play Kiriko. The only reason I think she's not being played as much anymore is because her playstyle can get very boring very fast because it's quite repetitive. Heal, damage, suzu if you need to, swift step if you need to, heal, damage, etc, etc. It's a shame really because she's super strong. Kitsune Rush is an amazing ult, and the fact that her crits do 3 times damage means that she can easily hold her own. She also has great self-survivability, with Suzu making her and her allies that get affected by it invulnerable, and she can teleport to allies in both the front and back line if she needs to. I reckon we'll see more of her next season when Malga joins the hero roster, as she can cleanse burning, making her a pretty good counter to that ability, especially since it's getting buffed slightly. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like this video, as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. Let me know if you have any requests for other heroes in the comments below, and subscribe so you don't miss that guide when it comes out. There are some heroes that I probably won't be able to make a guide on simply because I don't play them enough, but there are many more heroes on the list that I can make guides on than I can't make guides on. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.